Hey everyone, thank you again for joining me for this quick video. I just wanted to introduce myself real quick for people who don't know me. My name is Sheena. I'm the founder of Crooked Calligraphy. I have taught calligraphy to thousands of students. It's what I love doing, and I also do calligraphy for some pretty big brands and companies. So that's my company. I'm a calligrapher, but I actually used to be a corporate lawyer. I did that for 6 years. And when I was a corporate lawyer, I thought of myself as a not creative person. So today I want to tackle another huge obstacle I think that stands in the way of people getting more creativity into their lives. So again, if you have, can do it, if you could just pause for a second and grab like a scrap piece of paper, a post-it, whatever, the back of a receipt, and then just something to write with, a pen or a pencil. I'm going to ask you a few questions just like throughout to sort of think about, and I think it just helps so much. It helps me anyway to write down the answers. So if you can, and if you want to do that, go ahead and grab that piece of paper and a pen. So what I'm going to address today is something that I've heard from so many people. So I recently asked my Instagram followers, hey, are you interested in learning calligraphy? And, no surprise, like so many people responded, yes, like absolutely. And maybe people had been watching calligraphy videos for a little while and had gotten really intrigued, or maybe they had done some calligraphy or cursive writing or whatever as a kid and wanted to pick it back up again, or maybe they saw some beautiful artwork. Whatever it is, calligraphy was calling to them. But then I asked, so what's standing in your way? Like, what's the number one thing that's standing in the way of you learning calligraphy? So first question I want to ask you for you to sort of write down on your piece of paper is, what do you think the answer was? What do you think the like overwhelmingly number one answer was for what's standing in your way um, to learn calligraphy, if that's what you really want? Okay. So this might be you too. Maybe you wrote down the right answer. It's time. Like I don't have time. I can't squeeze it in. And I totally get that, because when I was a corporate lawyer, oh my God, I did not have time for anything. That's what it felt like. I was working 80-hour weeks. I was going in on Saturdays and Sundays. I would order lunch and dinner to my desk and eat it at my desk while still working. And it was unpredictable. Like I never knew when I was going to be busy and when I would have some free time. So really just in my head, it was, I do not have time. Like, oh, I can't possibly fit it in. And that's what I heard from so many people too, like super legit reasons, like, for feeling like you don't have time. Like people, full-time students who are also working a side job and they had finals coming up, or, parents with like maybe 3 kids and then a newborn baby coming, or people working 2 jobs and their parent is in the hospital. Like, I mean, I, guys, we have busy lives, and they seem to just get busier and busier. So it, I totally get how it feels like time is just a huge barrier, like a huge obstacle to learning something that you really feel drawn to, like calligraphy or whatever other creative pursuit that you want to have in your life. So I did want to, because I heard it so much. I did want to look into that a little bit. Like, is time really the true obstacle? So I want you to, second question for you to sort of write down on your piece of paper, how much time do you think it takes per day to get really good at calligraphy? So just write down on your piece of paper, how much time do you think it takes per day to get really good at calligraphy? Okay. The myth, right, and maybe you wrote this down, is that it takes hours a day of just, I mean, it looks complicated to do pointed pen calligraphy, right? With that funky nib and the side pen and dipping it into ink and everything. Like it's so old school. It looks kind of complicated. It looks like this super sort of esoteric like skill you gotta learn that, maybe calligraphy masters probably sit there for hours a day practicing. What if I just busted that myth and told you that you could learn calligraphy in 20 minutes a day? So just literally 20 minutes a day. Do you think that you could find 20 minutes in your day? And before you sort of like, I like even asking that question, I feel resistance, right? Like to that question, like, oh, I don't want to cram another thing into my day. Like, what if it was 20 minutes of just you knew it would be focused, fruitful practice that was also fun. Like you could just get into it, get in the zone. You knew exactly what you were doing. And then you knew also that it was going to take you somewhere. Like you knew that it was going to actually get you good at calligraphy. Like if you had that kind of a path to follow, could you find 20 minutes in your day? So next question I want to ask you for you to just sort of think about real quick, and don't get stressed out about this or anything, but like just, in a sort of curious way, could you fit 20 minutes into your day? And where could you possibly fit that in? So that's the next question I want you to sort of write down on your piece of paper. Where could you possibly fit 20 minutes into your day? Maybe it's, instead of watching one Netflix show, or maybe it's instead of just scrolling through Netflix looking for a show. That's where I spend all my time. I feel like I don't even watch shows. I just like look for them. Or have you ever, how iPhones will tell you now, like how much screen time you're spending on your phone? I looked at that once and it was like shocking. It was like 7 hours per day. And I was like, what? I mean, granted, I have a business and I'm on Instagram and I use my phone for a lot of stuff, but like 7 hours, holy crap. I did not realize, right, how much time I was spending. So it's just a question of, could you fit 20 minutes into your day? And I want you to, because that question, I ask it because I think that we need a little reframe. It's not that you don't have time. Because I think, and maybe this isn't you, but I think most people can fit 20 minutes into their day. There's somewhere to fit it in, right? If it was all set up and ready for you. So it's not that you don't have time. It's that you don't have time to waste. You don't have time to waste. Time and brain power and energy and emotional, like you just don't have. When I was thinking I don't have time, to me it was that I don't have time to like research and figure this out and wonder if I'm, buying the right tools and wonder if I'm, doing the right thing and whether it's going to actually take me anywhere. Like that's what I really was feeling. Not that I don't have time. Because if I had the time to like that I knew, would step by step take me somewhere, I would have found time. But I did not have the time to waste and the energy and all that. So I feel like that's the start of an important new perspective, right? Because you can say that I don't have time for like all sorts of things, right? And it could just, if you just keep saying you don't have time and your life just keeps getting busier, then you'll just never do anything, right? So another way that I sort of thought of as maybe a cool new way to sort of think about it is, instead of thinking of trying to like cram yet another activity, yet another thing into your already busy, hectic life, like you're running around trying to get everything done, you feel frazzled, like, whoa, like nothing, you just feel like you don't have an ounce of energy and time to spare. Instead of trying to cram something else into that, think about how your time would change and maybe just shift a little bit if you took 20 minutes just for yourself, maybe even 3 times a week, to get lost in the flow, to exercise some creativity, to forget about all the shit, that's happening in the rest of your life. If you just took 20 minutes to like really recharge and fuel yourself, what would that 20 minutes do to the rest of your time? Like, what would it be like to actually have something really fulfilling and relaxing and something that helps you unwind? What if you did that like before bed a few times a week? Would you maybe have a slightly less anxiety? Would you maybe feel a little bit more energized? Would you maybe sleep like a tiny bit better? Maybe hit that snooze button like a few, one less time in the morning? I just think that creativity, like prioritizing that and finding the time in your life it can be so powerful and so important that it's good to think of it as how will it affect the rest of your time. So that's the final question that I want to ask you is, what would your day look like? How would things change? How would your mental energy change if you felt just a little bit more recharged and relaxed on a daily basis? Just a little bit more. How would that shift things? So take a second to think about that and write down your answer. How would your day look if you felt just a little bit more recharged and relaxed? And if that answer is like, hey, I might sort of find an easier way to go about things. I might not run around so frazzled all the time. It might shift things a little bit better for me. Then, you know, maybe that's time worth spending because we all, I mean, I know you've heard this before, but we all have the same number of hours in the day as Beyonce, right? Or Oprah or Marie Forleo or whoever, insert your hero, right? We all have the same 24 hours. And hey, like, I'm sort of a skeptic and a practical person too. I'm thinking like, yeah, if I had $1 billion and like people to help me, then yeah, I feel like I'd have more time too. But all those people started out, they didn't start out. Oprah didn't start out a billionaire. She started out with like nothing, and she had the same number of hours in the day. She just knew how to prioritize it. So it's not to make, I don't want anyone to feel guilty or stressed out or like, oh, you're doing something wrong with your time. You're not. I just think that if you can make a little bit of a mental shift, maybe just start naming things differently, like, or thinking about it a little bit differently, it might help to actually get you where you want to go. And if that's learning creativity, awesome. If that's just learning calligraphy. I'm mixing them up now. If that's learning calligraphy, yay, I'm totally feeling you. If it's just getting creativity into your life somehow, also amazing. Again, my mission is to get more people in touch with their creativity. I feel like it's so, so important. I think it's so much more important than we realize. And I think that I think that it can have a trickle effect into the rest of your life and really help with that feeling that you don't have time. So, yeah, that's what I sort of thought might be helpful, is to think about whether don't have time or whether you don't have time to waste. So, that's sort of the aha, the like that I wanted to share with you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, if any of this resonated with you, feel free to follow me on Instagram, Crooked Calligraphy, and send me a DM. I respond to all of those, so I would love to have a conversation with you on this, or drop a comment down below the video. Let me know what you think. If it's like total BS, that's fine. Let me know that. That would be interesting to hear. If it helped maybe help to think a little bit differently about this whole time question, I'd love to hear that as well. So again, you guys, thanks so much for joining me.